a student at the Sismondi School. They will be sharing with you their experiences in a mediation program which is aimed at managing interpersonal conflicts between students and teachers. Welcome, Ines and Susan. I am Ines Daccord. I'm 15 years old, and I would like to talk about the peer mediation program in Secheron in the junior high school where I was for 3 years. I'll tell you about a personal experience, first of all. 1 year ago, in my class, there were two very good friends of mine who started exchanging insults in every area about religion, about people's appearances, and about their families as well. The idea was to come up with an ever more insulting comment, but very soon things started to go sour. The game turned nasty. They weren't just having fun. In fact, they were really insulting each other. The tension grew in our class, and it affected everyone. We got the impression that it could get out of hand at any point. Any moment now. Once in the geography class, one of them insulted the other one a bit too strongly, and everything went crazy. They jumped up and started hitting each other. We tried to separate them. We managed to separate them. But in the fray, there was one of them who broke a window with their elbow, and there were a few people got injured. Everything calmed down. The next day, I went to school, and I proposed a mediation exercise with me as the mediator so they could understand how they ended up in this situation. During the mediation, I was able to keep neutral because of all the tools I learned about in the training, and it really resolved the conflict. Now, thanks to the mediation, they're perhaps not bosom buddies, but at least they do say hi to each other in the halls, and they can spend an evening together without it coming to violence. Now, as Ines has told you, she's done her schooling in our school, Secheron. I'd like to talk about our school, first of all, so that you can understand a bit more about it. There are 600 students in our school. They're adolescents from 12 to 15 years of age, and they come to our school for 3 years. They finish their compulsory school education program, and then this is a period of adolescence when you're at this type of junior high school. It's a very time full of change, of challenging the authority of parents, of adults in general, but it's also a time that is replete with experiences. And sometimes this comes hand in hand with conflicts with your schoolmates. These people are a really multicultural microcosm because 62% of the students are foreigners or foreign nationals. It's also a place for social cohesion in a microcosm. One of our policies as a school is to try to provide schooling support, but also to help people learn about life so that students can take advantage of this social diversity and they can grow up to be adults who find pleasure in living in such a cultural mosaic. This is very important in our work. Now, just a few words about the background. In 1996, for 25 years I've been in the school. In 1996, there was a very disrupted period because of all these factors, also because of wars in Europe that were taking place, as is the case in all times of war and difficult times. One wants everything to go well in schools. We want to help parents and students alike in building a life for themselves. We like this work, but we were very frustrated, and we found ourselves somewhat helpless. Very helpless, in fact, because we saw excesses happening. We didn't know how to protect the students and how to work together to ensure that all of the pupils in the school calmed down and started talking to each other and understood more about the origins and causes of the conflicts between the pupils. There were 2 forums on violence that were held, and as part of that, we started meeting with each other. That was the point of departure. We decided to get some training. We used continuous learning programs to have training in connection with peer mediation programs supported and headed up by a faculty of psychology and educational science professor in Geneva. And since 1998, and ever since then, all of the actors involved, not just the teachers, but the administrative staff and members of the leadership of the school with psychosocial support, have been trained. And the new teachers, whenever they come to our school, they automatically get this training too. It's become an across-the-board policy in the school. We want to have a common communication strategy to resolve conflict situations. Ever since 1999, we've started raising awareness among students. Our real forte is that all students get this training. I think this is the only way to really find solutions to the problems. All of the first-year students go through this training. First of all, they learn to use mediation tools, that is reformulating, hearing people out actively, taking into account feelings in a situation of conflict. They also learn to exchange views about their personal reactions vis-à-vis a conflict situation, and they learn how to behave. When faced with conflicts and complicated situations, they learn to have confidence in themselves, to find a shared stance, and to speak to others. Pain and exclusion starts to recede, and then people learn to say things that one didn't dare to say earlier. We've noticed after all these years, it's been 14 years now, what I can conclude is that students put a lot of themselves into this effort. They become mediators for others as soon as they've gone through the training, and they help others. We have reestablished confidence where everyone recognizes the values of respect for others, for diversity, and for building a future life, because they're going to grow up and become adults themselves. For my part, I think that everyone, if they are trained in mediation, they can be neutral. And I think it's important for young people to know about this, because one day we'll be adults and we'll have to manage the world to ensure that things work out better for everyone. Mediation programs have really helped to reduce the feeling of a lack of security, because that's where you see rumors coming up, doubts and unspoken fears appearing. In mediation, you learn to speak out about what you feel and to understand others. And in fact, we haven't had that many actual mediation exercises, but there are difficult situations that arise every day, and pupils in the Secheron school can use their training tools. I think it's much better to learn about mediation in school, because not all families can teach this to their children. It's a level playing ground for everyone. Therefore, it's also important to have mediation, because it's useful to have us understand our own feelings and listen to other people's feelings in a safe environment. I think the real success of the mediation is that we've understood that there are so many other ways of solving problems besides violence. I know that what's happening in the Secheron school are not at all on the same level as what we've been hearing about today, but I think that if mediation works so well in our school, perhaps it could work in a lot of other schools, even in countries that are afflicted by violence. And I would really encourage today's adults to introduce mediation wherever they can, to allow us as young people to become better adults.
Merci beaucoup.